why should you invest in the UK? What are the key core reasons? Well, now I'm going to show you just why. The UK offers attractive rental yields due to high demand from professionals and students, often surpassing those in other major global cities. The UK property market has a history of strong capital growth, with prices increasing an average of 5% per year over the last 100 years, driven by strong economy, limited land supply, and global appeal. The UK's strong diversified economy creates healthy property demand from both businesses and individuals, benefiting investors. And the UK's excellent transport links make it a convenient place to live and work, boosting property demand further. So this is one of my favorite slides I'm going to show you now. This is actually from the UK Land Registry data. So it's available on the UK government website itself. And what this is historically showing you is how UK property prices have consistently risen and gone up. And when you work it out over the last 70 to 75 years, which is how far this graph is going, it shows you that UK property prices have actually doubled every 10 to 15 years. But let me take you through some very important times globally that we also went through. In 1990, we had the Persian Gulf War crisis. Okay, there was a global recession. Property prices in the UK stagnated for about 5 years. They didn't drop, they didn't go down, but it was a global recession. But in 1995, UK property prices shot back up. More recent, 2007, is when we had the Lehman Brothers global market crash and recession. Again, UK property prices took a very small little dip, and that was mainly London property prices at that point. But in 2010, 3 years later, UK property prices shot back up again. But also, furthermore, to add, the UK was the fastest economy to recover out of recession when it came to property growth and property values. After that, we had 2016 when the UK announced Brexit, or our exit from the EU, where we wanted to go back to being independent. And even then, everyone thought lots of Europeans are going to leave the UK. Nobody left. And in fact, the UK still remained very strong. The pound became stronger against the dollar and the euro, showing that the UK is great and independent, even on its own, without being part of the EU. And in 2020, we had COVID, and even then, UK property prices continued rising. So what this is briefly showing you that even through good times and bad times, the UK property market is a very strong economy, currency, and market to buy and invest into properties. This is another graph showing you just historically, even in the last 12 years, how UK property prices have averaged throughout the whole of the UK. This is not taking London or any major city in account. This is just talking about average UK property prices have grown by £100,000 just in the last 12 years on an average. Some cities have definitely increased more, some cities a little bit less. But as an average, you would have made £100,000 profit on your property if you had bought it in the last 12 years. This here is showing you just why the UK is so property prices are so strong. Because if you look here, since 1971, the population of the UK has continued rising. This is due to globally healthcare facilities better, people live longer nowadays, but the population, a lot of people moving into the UK. But either way, shows you just how much the population keeps on rising. But what's more important is the UK is a very small country and a very small island. You can't grow land anywhere in the world apart from if you're in Dubai, and some of you will understand the joke there. But if you have a look on the top up here where I've got the cursor, that's Scotland, and then you've got Ireland here. They're technically their own independent countries themselves already. But then you've got the UK, which is from Manchester all the way down to London here. And it is a very small country and a very small island. Population keeps rising, but property prices keep going up because they can't find enough land to continue building. And as you know, if any of you know the UK, you know you can only build so high. You can't just build skyscrapers. There's a lot of green land as well, which you cannot build on, which is agricultural land, which means that UK is going towards Hong Kong and Singapore, where population increases, property prices keep on going up, but nowhere for people to move and live in nowadays. So the UK and its shortage of homes. Well, the UK has a severe housing crisis, especially in the most prosperous places. Across England, the average house costs more than 10 times the average salary. Now, that's very important to know that, which means it's getting more and more difficult for people to save up money to be able to buy their first property, which means they rent longer. And that means a lot of international buyers are coming in, buying property in the UK and then renting them out. Furthermore, the vacancy or empty apartments throughout the UK is below 1%. That's very important for you to know that, which means apartments don't sit empty in the UK because there's just not enough of them around. So below 1% of them are ever sitting empty. The space per person for private renters has dropped substantially in recent decades, basically meaning properties are becoming smaller because there's not enough land to build big apartments. Also, compared to the average European country, UK today has a backlog or a shortage of 4.3 million homes that are missing from the national housing market, as they've just not been able to be built, again, because there's not enough land and not enough space to keep on building. Housing deficit would take half a century to fill if the government could build 300,000 homes a year. However, sadly, even at the best year ever, the UK only ever managed to build 97,000 homes, which means every year there's always over 200,000 homes shortage compared to what they need to be building in the UK. So that means good news for as an investor, property prices only keep going up and rental demand is very high. So now the question is, where should you invest in the UK? Well, you should look to invest in rising markets with the following characteristics: rising property prices, strong tenant base, undersupply of premium housing, strong employment opportunities and job growth, population growth, thriving higher education sector and graduate populations, affordable entry prices, good transport links. And what we found is that when you put all of those together, the northwest of England is the UK's #1 property hotspot and offers outstanding house price and rental growth. According to Savills, which is one of the world's largest companies when it comes to properties and talking about markets and where they're going, in the last average 28.8% house price growth by 2025. So by the end of this year and in the last 5 years, property prices have gone up by just under 30% in the northwest region. Also, we're finding rental increases are 3.3% per annum due to the shortage of properties in this region. The city centre property markets in this region offer everything you need to make a profitable investment. Now, in the last 5 years, what we found is that Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Birmingham, and London, where most people like to invest, Manchester grew by just under 8%, Leeds at just under 7.5%, Sheffield at 7.2%, Birmingham just under 7%, and London just under 3% capital appreciation on a yearly basis. In the last 5 years, in the northwest region, which is Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, and touches on Birmingham, if you'd bought a property there in the last 5 years, your property would have gone up by just under 25% capital appreciation. That's a great return, according to Zoopla and Savills. Moving forward, according to JLL, the next 5 years to come, you should see in the northwest region just under 30% growth on your property value, because property values are just continuing to rise. And also, you should get just under 22% rental increase on your properties. Now, I always ask a client one thing: if you can see these percentages here, if you had £1 million or $1 million, where would you invest your money? And that will give you a good idea and a hint as to where you should be looking to put your money. So now we're going to touch on the key cities in the UK, growth opportunities and investment insights: Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, and London. To give you an idea here, according to Savills, in the next 5 years, to kind of complement the figures I've just given to you, Northwest, which is areas like Manchester, Liverpool, Salford areas, they're going to grow by around 29.4%. The Yorkshire and Humber, which is areas like Sheffield, Leeds, and Halifax, are going to grow by about 28.2%. Places like Birmingham, Coventry, and Wolverhampton by about 26.4%. And London will still have a good growth rate, conservatively at 17.1% growth in London. So what we do is we focus our attention on all these kind of cities where we're going to see the best capital appreciation and the best rental yields for our clients' investment opportunities. So to summarize, These cities exemplify the UK's dynamic growth through robust infrastructure, expanding populations, and increasing opportunities for education and employment. Manchester and Birmingham stand out for their large-scale regeneration and infrastructure projects and of the highest capital appreciation in the rental yields for your investment. Leeds and Sheffield benefit from their strategic locations and evolving economies and eventually become tier one cities. London is renowned for its economic landmark like the Big Ben, Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, along with its rich history. However, rental yields and capital appreciation are expected to be a little bit more limited in the coming years when you compare it to Manchester, Birmingham, and Leeds. Rental and house price growth forecasts indicate strong investment potential across all four cities, solidifying their position as key partners in the UK property markets. To give you an idea, guys, today I'm talking about 4 different areas, which is going to be Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, and London. However, we help clients with all different elements of budgets. And to give you ideas, we have developments in all the key major cities and regions in the UK. In Leeds, Halifax, Manchester, Sheffield, Nottingham, Birmingham, and London. And in total, we have over 21 different sites and developments that we're able to offer our clients globally. We have starting prices from anywhere from £140,000 all the way up to £3 million in London. So whatever your budgets are, whatever cities, areas, and locations you're considering, please do talk to us because we probably have something that's going to be right for you and along with the right budgets.